It is over. Notre Dame has won the championship. It's a lock. It's done. The season's not even worth playing. All right. I am joking, obviously. If you watched my preview video of this game, you get it. Or if you watched any of my WNBA stuff, you probably get the joke. Anyway, we are going to recap Notre Dame's 74-61 victory over USC at the Galen Center. We are going to go through who deserves game balls for Notre Dame and who deserves a little bit of blame pie for USC. And then we will take a look at the crystal ball and try to figure out where these teams are going to be a few months down the track. But before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. All right, so let's get into it. First, let's celebrate Notre Dame. So first, as I said, game balls. There are two game balls that first go out, obviously, to Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles. Hannah Hidalgo set the tone early.
The unit's looking to you, Mark. You set the tone.
She was everywhere on defense and was just making shots all over the place. And then Olivia Miles was the finisher in the fourth quarter. If Back to Sports is going to give out some blame pie to USC later on, then we might as well eat a bit of crow on having Olivia Miles ranked 27th. Now, I did this basically because of her outside shot. I was very concerned about her shooting three-pointers, as over her career, she had shot around 26% from three-point land. But yes, in the first 5 games, a very early sample, she is shooting 47%. If this holds up, then 47% is not going to hold up over the season, in my opinion. But if she keeps her three-point shooting percentage over 30%, then Notre Dame is very deadly. There's just no doubt. They remind me of the Houston Rockets, that first glorious season when they had Chris Paul playing with James Harden. As the Rockets had two playmakers that could get to the basket, and at any time they could kick it out to somebody to shoot threes, and much that looks like the way Notre Dame is set up, as both Miles and Hidalgo, if one's attacking the basket, and they can throw out to the other one for a three-pointer, or Citron or Prosper or whoever, they are just going to be loaded. It looks good really early on for Notre Dame. On defense, big flowers to Sonia Citron, who made JuJu Watkins work for everything. As basically the game plan was make JuJu go left, and if JuJu gets by them, then another player comes up and steps up and just makes it hard for JuJu. The other key to Notre Dame's defense is obviously Hannah Hidalgo. She reminds me of Troy Polamalu or Lawrence Taylor back in the 80s. Yes, I'm dating myself. And what I mean by that is they just let her drift around at times, use her instincts, and try to make a play. The other set of game balls should go to Laitui King and Kate Koval, as that was Notre Dame's big question mark coming in. Were they going to be able to hold up to Kiki Rice and Rhea Marshall? And they held up just fine. It was interesting. On the first play of the game, Kiki Arieffin was able to bully over King to get the rebound, but she couldn't put back the bunny. And I thought, ooh, they're just going to bully them the whole game, but it really did not transpire that way. And then I rewatched that play, and it was interesting. King did a good job of not letting Arieffin set up low on the block. She sort of pushed her out a bit, and if there was one thing with Kiki Arieffin, I thought she settled. The announcers were praising her for her face-up game, but I thought too much. She was just giving up territory and settling for the jumper. But we'll get to that in a bit. The other one that should get praise for Notre Dame or a game ball is obviously Cassandra Prosper, who played very well in her 26 minutes, going 4 for 8 for 8 points and 4 rebounds. And as well, she was also big on defense as she took turns on JuJu. With her and Citron, Notre Dame has to be really excited about their wings. It just gives them so much flexibility. And then obviously the last game ball would go to Kate Koval. I thought she made Kiki Arieffin very uncomfortable with her size and just got stronger and stronger as the game went along, which was very impressive for a freshman going against very experienced post players in Marshall and Arieffin. Now let's move on to USC and blame pie. So I think obviously a piece goes to JuJu Watkins. She did not have a good game. She went 10 for 25 for 24 points. She continues to struggle from the three-point line, 0 for 5. And to me, it just looks simple. It looks like the Jordan rules, if you like, where the Detroit Pistons used to beat Jordan until he could figure it out and develop a way to use his teammates and get them involved. She just has to work so hard for her baskets. It makes her inefficient. She'll have those occasional games where she'll go off and crush like a Stanford, especially if they can get into transition. But if they're limited to the half-court game, then she's really having to work to get her buckets. And you could make the argument that JuJu did not have anybody to throw it to, as they were awful shooting. USC going 7% from 3 and 24% from the floor. But the other thing I would say about JuJu was her defense wasn't impressive. Hannah Hidalgo backdoored her early in the game. And then as well, like, just watch this simple pick early in the first quarter. Like, are they switching or not? Like, Talia Van Olhoffen thinks they're switching, and you can see after the basket's given up, Van Olhoffen just shrugs her shoulders like, what are we doing? A miscommunication that early is just very strange. Just sort of shows how USC was not really locked in on defense. Kayla Heckel struggled. Obviously, she was given the start because of Kennedy Smith being out with a surgical procedure. We don't know what that is. They say she'll be back later in the season, which is a good thing, but that really did hurt USC, as that allowed Hidalgo to match up on Heckel and Miles on Talia Van Olhoffen, which is a much more comfortable matchup. Kennedy Smith might have been able to take more advantage of her height. The other big star that needs to take some blame pie is Kiki Arieffen. It just seemed like she was always off balance this game and falling down. She just never seemed really comfortable, and I didn't think she punished King like I thought she would when King was guarding her. And then as the game went along, like I said earlier, I thought Kate Koval got better and better, and Arieffen was just never comfortable. Like, she went 5 for 15 for 15 points, was inefficient, and overall, King and Koval got the better of the matchup, going for 13 points on 6 of 10 shooting and 18 rebounds versus Arieffen and Marshall, who went for 21 points on 8 of 24 shooting and also went for 18 rebounds. Now, where from here? If you're Notre Dame, obviously you're excited. I don't think Miles is going to shoot 40% from 3 all season. But that said, the real exciting thing for them is Maddie Westbelt didn't play, and she will give you an outside threat at the 5 or the 4, combining with Koval and King. You just have so many parts. In addition, it appears Cassandra Prosper is a player, and it just makes it really exciting because you could potentially play Hidalgo, Miles, Prosper, and Citron, and then Maddie Westbelt. That lineup would be very intriguing, as you'd have a lot of shooting all the way around with 2 high impact players, obviously, in Miles and Hidalgo. Now, looking into the crystal ball with USC, I think they will be fine over time. I'm really curious what Kennedy Smith's injury is. Is it like a meniscus or something like that, where she will be able to come back? Because they're indicating she will be back, or they're expecting her back. And I think that's important, as I think she's a big piece to where they can go this year. But the silver lining, you always have to find the silver lining. That will allow Heckel and Howell to get more minutes and develop over the season, which will be important as they get into March. The other big question they will need to figure out is, how does Talia Van Olhoffen fit into this team? She is not a classic point guard, hence why I think Heckel will benefit with more minutes, and I think ultimately she will develop into the long-term point guard. But I could see a scenario where they go JuJu, Heckel or Samuel, one of those two running the point or having some of the ball handling responsibilities to take that off of JuJu. And then Smith, and then Talia Van Olhoffen maybe playing big at the 4 or 3, and then Arieffen at the 5, and just having extra shooting on there, and then potentially Rhea Marshall and Arieffen sort of switching out for each other. I mean, at times they'll go double bigs, but they're just played so far off Marshall during that game. But overall, USC just needs to shoot better. Everything looks bad when you shoot 7% from the three-point line and 24% from the floor. So if you're USC, you're just saying it's one of those games. We'll build from here and get better. And again, if you're Notre Dame, you're getting very excited and saying, Olivia, keep on shooting as well as you are. Let's get a healthy Maddie Westbeld back, combined with Liza Carlin, and here we go. We are very excited. Anyway, your thoughts, your comments, all is welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day.